Hey lovies, welcome back to my channel. So I have some exciting news to share with you. So my last video is kind of complaining a little bit about how I have not received my romance haul or my book outlet haul, and both have arrived. So I thought the very first thing I would share with all of you guys is my book outlet haul because I'm very excited about it. And I wanted to give you guys a different background because I am so sick and tired of sitting in that little dark corner, and it's not too bad of a day outside, so I'm actually sitting in front of my window. My original plan and thought was to take you guys to the park and do like this haul, but all of our parks here in Pennsylvania are closed. If you are caught at a public park, you have a $500 fine facing you. Things are getting so weird and out of control here. Like, even sometimes when I go on YouTube and I see people still having like Dollar Tree hauls and stuff like this, I'm like, where do they live? Because our Dollar Trees, Dollar Generals, any small store and anything that is not considered life-sustaining closed almost 2.5-3 weeks ago. Like, even our Chinese we can't even order Chinese here, like to take out. Of course, any kind of like buffet or anything that closed a long time ago. But it's just like, how are people still having like Tuesday morning hauls and Dollar Tree hauls? Like, blows my mind. But some of the older kids, now that they're off of school, of course this bird is going to make noise. Of course. She doesn't peek. She doesn't make a sound until I talk. But anyways, of course there's no school here. So I think some of the older kids whose parents feel they can still work, if they have work, I think they were caught down at the parks and they're not doing such nice things. So our Governor Wolf has closed all public parks. So the haul outside went right out the window. So I thought, well, I'll sit in front of a window, or in this case a door, and I'll do this haul. So the funny thing is, before I get into this haul, I ordered this book outlet haul, I would say the last week of February, first week of March. And that was before things got really, really serious. This is kind of like about when we were still hearing really bad things about China and that it may come to America. Like, things had not gotten bad yet. So I thought it'd be really fun to find as many like post-apocalyptic or apocalyptic or end of the world type kind of books, just because I thought it'd be fun because what was going on. Now, fast forward many weeks later, and we're in the mess that we're in. I do not make light. I am not poking fun of the things that are going on in our world. I know there are many, many, many millions of Americans that are sick and such forth. I do not make fun. I am not poking fun. Back then, I didn't know it was going to get this serious or anything of that nature. So my entire haul, it's been such a long time, I don't remember everything. There may be one book that isn't. I'm not sure. We'll look together. But most of these books either deal with like the end of the world, apocalypse, or like post-apocalyptic things that are happening. So, whereas at that time, I just thought these would be really fun reads, they now have become very like, oh my, because I'm sure I remember when I was picking, some of these had to do with like pandemics, EMPs. I think there's even a zombie one in there. Now, I'm a big Walking Dead fan, so zombies are like cool to me. So, but anyways, I just don't want anybody to get the wrong idea that like I'm poking fun or making fun by buying these types of books. I'm not being sponsored by Book Outlet either. It's just I'm a big reader, and Book Outlet's a fantastic place to get books for fairly cheap. So with all of that kind of being said, I just want to put it out there. I'm not poking fun. I'm not making fun. I'm not trying to make light of what's going on in America. I just thought it'd be very interesting to have books that are very similar to what we're dealing with. I just thought that that would be a fun thing. And that's just kind of where I'm going to leave it. And now, not knowing when this is going to stop and when this is going to end, I have enough books to last me to the end of days. At least that's how it feels. So I'm just going to shut up and show you the books. So this is my box. I'm going to open it with you guys right here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the box and kind of just pull it all out, because where I'm sitting, I don't have enough room to like put the box here. So I'm unboxing this live with you guys. Here is my box of fun. Ooh. Okay, so I think I'm just going to pull them all out and kind of set them very gently on this tray, because I don't want to shake you guys too bad. And then I'll throw the box behind me. Yeah, I have quite a few books, so I need to get a move on. For this video, will be a half an hour too. So, looking at some of these, I remember some of these. So the reason why I picked this one, this is called Wastelands, The New Apocalypse. I'm telling you guys, they're all going to be kind of like this. I thought this one was very interesting because this is a whole bunch of short stories written by many, many, many different authors. So some names that you may recognize is Ken Liu, Veronica Roth. She wrote the Divergent series. Jonathan Mayberry. There's some like very familiar authors in here. Here are a lot of them. Look at all them authors. And the book's pretty thick. He's a pretty thick boy. So this just has a whole bunch of short stories by many different authors. Master Anthony John, boy, it's really hard to read now that the light's like in my eyeballs, creates his finest collection yet of post-apocalyptic short fiction stories. Whether disaster comes via nuclear war, pandemic, climate change, or cosmetology disaster, these are the extraordinary trials and tribulations of those who survive. So I just thought this would be really cool because it's going to be many, many, many different voices. And I like the idea of very short stories. So I can read one short story, like probably in an hour, put this down, read something else, and then come back to this if I want. So this is the first book I picked up. This one by Gary Gibson. I believe I got book 1 and 2. I'm not sure which one's which. It's been so long. I think this is book 1. So anyways, what caught my eye with this book is it's called The Extinction Game. Could you survive the end of your world? I really went for it, didn't I, guys? So I think what caught my attention is I remember when I was reading about this, it kind of reminded me of like the Hunger Games, but like post-apocalyptic Hunger Games kind of thing. So I might read some of the synopsises to you because I don't honestly remember everything because it's been so long. But it says, when your life is based on lies, how do you hunt down the truth? Jerry Beach should be dead. Instead, he's rescued from a desolate earth where was the last man alive. He's placed on a remote island with a crack team of survivors who each saw the end of their own alternate earth end. And they have a mission to retrieve weapons and data from dying versions of our world. Very far-fetched, very out there, but I just thought that sounded very exciting. So the first book in it is called Extinction Game, and then the second in it is Survival Game. Will they repeat the mistakes of their past? So book 1 and 2, they look interesting. So this is all like about alternate Earths. So I don't know, just guys, really and truly, I'm the type of person, my family makes fun of me all the time. The weirder, the better. At least, sorry, my box is falling. At least in my personal opinion, I feel like sometimes like the weirder, the better. I'm just strange. Moving forward, I think looking at this book, I think this is the only one that didn't have to do with like the apocalypse. And this is called This Heart of Mine, a novel. It's by C.C. Hunter. A new heart saved her life, but will it help her find out what really happened to its donor? I remember reading this one and like getting teary-eyed. And it has like a sci-fi kind of feel to it too. It says, from the New York Times bestselling author of the Shadow Falls series, which I've never read, comes C.C. Hunter's This New Heart of Mine, a haunting tale about a living and dying, surviving grief, guilt, and heartache while discovering love and hope in this midst of sadness. 17-year-old Lee Mackenzie is heartless. An artificial heart in a backpack is keeping her alive. However, this route offers her only a few years, and with her rare blood type, a transplant isn't likely. Living like you are dying isn't all it's cracked up to be, but when a heart becomes available, she's given a second chance at life. Except, Lee discovers who the donor was, a boy from her school, and they're saying he killed himself. Plagued with dreams since her transplant, she realizes she may hold the clues to what really happened. And then it goes on and on and on and on about more about the plot. So I just thought this sounded very interesting. A heart in a backpack is keeping her alive. I don't know. This is the only one that I think isn't like post-apocalyptic. So we're going to give this one a try. I'm just trying a whole bunch of things like outside my normal genre. I always tend to lean towards YA, which is young adult, which this is a young adult book. So that's probably why I picked it up. But we're going to try it out. Like I said, I have enough books probably to read till the end of time. So the next ones is called Last Ones Left Alive. This one is by Sarah Davis Goff. These are all brand new authors to me. This is not my normal genre. These are not things that I normally read. So if I pronounce any authors' names or anything wrong like that, I'm very, very sorry. I don't know much about these. Like I said, this is all new genres. It says, written in sparse, affecting prose and reminiscent of Cormac McCarthy's The Road. This is a fiercely feminist, highly imaginative novel. So this one reads, raised in isolation on a small island off the coast of a post-apocalyptic island, 15-year-old Oprah has spent her life training to ward off a threat she's never seen. More and more, she feels the call of the mainland and the prospects of finding other survivors. Then disaster strikes. Oprah decides her last hope is to reach the legendary Banshees, the rumored all-female fighting force that battles the Skrake. As Oprah races through the unfamiliar landscape, she quickly begins to realize that the Skrake are not the only threat. So this sounds very interesting. And I think I probably, knowing me, if there's anything to do with another country, like Ireland, Australia, I love books that are set in like, oh my God. Like, you would think I would know this right off the top of my head because it's one of my favorite places. Never been there. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I love to learn about it. And you know, it's where it snows a lot. You know, like where we think the North Pole is. And do you think Alaska? That's it. Yeah. I swear to God, I'm such a dip. But I love books that are set in other countries like Ireland, you know, Alaska, places like that. So, and like Ireland, Alaska, and I'd have to say like the land down under, Australia, those are like my favorite. So, knowing me, that's probably one of the reasons why I gravitated toward that book. And I like the whole female power thing going on too. So the next one, we only got 3 more to go, guys. The next one I picked up, again, I have no idea, never read anything by this person. It says it's a national bestseller, Colson Whitehead. It says it's a Pulitzer Prize winning author. The Underground Railroad. So this one is called Zone 1. In the beginning, in the front of this book says, it's a book you want to read rather than one you should read, while still providing the chilling fleshly pleasures of zombies who lurch, pursue hunger, one of the best books of the year. So I think this is my zombie book. It says, a pandemic. A pandemic has devastated the planet, sorting humanity into two types, the unaffected and the infected, the living and the living dead. After the worst of the plague is over, armed forces stationed in Chinatown's Fort Wonton have successfully reclaimed the island south of Canal Street, aka Zone 1. Mark Spritz is a member of one of the three-person civilian sweeper units tasked with cleaning lower Manhattan of the remaining feral zombies. So this is my zombie. This is my zombie book. It's not that big. I probably could read this in a day. If it's interesting, if it's like 300 pages, I could do it. It's only 296. I could read this in a day, no problem. If it catches my, if it's interesting enough. So I thought this would be fun. This is my zombie novel. Like I said, guys, when I was picking these out way back at the beginning of March, I think either the last week of February, beginning of March, I didn't know what was coming our way. At that time, it was still just pretty intense in China. And I just thought this would be really fun. Now looking back, I'm like, oh my. Moving on. Okay, the next book I got. So it is called The Leftovers. Oh, I remember why I wanted this one. So this is by Tom Perrotta. I hope I'm saying your name right. Stephen King recommends this book, which that's pretty cool, right? So this one says, what if, whoosh, right now, with no explanation, a number of us simply vanished? Would some of us think it was the rapture? Would some of us fall apart? Would others go on just as we did before the world turned upside down? And then, of course, it goes into a whole big, synopsis. I'm not going to read all that to you. But I think that's what really caught my eye. Is this a book about the rapture? Or is this like an alien abduction kind of thing? Either one is totally interesting to me because I love all of that. The Left Behind series was one of my absolute favorite series as a kid growing up. And of course, that was all about the rapture. So if this has something to do with that, or they kind of don't tell you which way it's going, or if it's like alien abduction or something like that, whatever. But I can see, like, as I'm scanning the back, it's like this abduction sends the world into like complete chaos and kind of like what we're dealing now, everything's shutting down, food is rare to get, the whole thing. So it kind of sends you into like this end of times kinds of thing. So I think that's why I picked this up. So I'm excited about this. I'm actually excited about all of these. I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick to read first, but that is the reason I picked this one up. And the cover is pretty cool. Usually I am so guilty of being people who buy books because of covers. I'm very guilty of that. So that cover, the cover's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anyways, moving on. I'm just rambling. I love books, guys. Can you tell? I love books. So I have two hardback books. So this one's called The Line Between. It says it's a thriller, but when I see the back here, I think it's apocalyptic as well. And this one is by Tosca Lee. Tosca Lee? I hope that's how I'm saying. Again, these are all brand new authors. An extinct disease has reemerged from the melting Alaskan permafrost to cause madness in its victims and now is spreading. For former apocalyptic cult member Winter Roth, it's the end, and she's always been told was coming. When 22-year-old Winter Roth is cast out of self-contained doomsday cult New Earth, a mysterious outbreak of rapid early onset dementia is already spreading across the nation. And then it goes into a whole bunch more of the synopsis. I won't read all of that to you and bore you to death. But that sounds very interesting. And what a different spin on a pandemic type thing. Onset dementia. Instead of like what you would think is like a sickness. I think that's what really caught my attention. And it's set in Alaska. I think that's probably what did it for me. But I think that's like wow, onset dementia. That's a different type of pandemic. That really stretches your mind, don't it? So, and I do like the cover of this one. So And of course, it's set in Alaska. So this sounds very interesting too. And then the last book I have to share with you guys is called Year of the Orphan. And this one is by Daniel Findlay. I feel so weird saying people's names. I don't want to, it's so dishonoring to say an author's name wrong, but they're all brand new authors I'm not familiar with, not one of them. So even that's exciting to explore different authors, because everybody has their own writing style. And then you get your favorite authors, and you get so used to the writing style that when you read other books, it's like it could ruin you or it could make it very exciting. Been there. But anyways, this one says, A World Beyond Hope, A Girl with a Secret, One Chance for Survival. It's a novel, and I'd imagine it says in here, it says, The road meets Mad Max in the stunning debut called An All-Around Great Novel. It says, in a post-apocalyptic future where survivors scavenge in the harsh Australian outback. Oh my God, I got a book from Australia, I got one from Ireland, and I got one from Alaska. Yeah, this is totally me. Anyways, outback for spoilers for a buried civilization. A girl races across the desert holding her treasure close, pursued by the Reckoners. Riding her sand ship, living rough in the blasted landscape, she scouts the broken infrastructure and trades her scraps at the only known settlement, a ramshackle fortress of greed, corruption, and disease known as the System. And then, of course, it goes into a whole bunch more stuff. And again, I'm not going to bore you, but I think you get where all these books are going. So, so I guess this is her sand ship. So, sounds very interesting. Sounds like me. Yep. Like I said, the weirder the better. So I got 9 books for $34 from Bookoutlet, and 2 of them being hardbacks. That is a gosh darn good deal. So if you love to read, and again, I am not being sponsored or anything like that, Bookoutlet is a wonderful way to get books for cheap. Sometimes the books, I may have 1 or 2. They have like these kinds of marks on them because they were probably library books. I have received books from Bookoutlet where they actually still had like a library sleeve on them with the name of the library on the back. It's very rare, but some of these do have marks and things like that on them. I've never gotten a book from them or anything like that that's kind of been like torn up or anything like that. But they're like, they're cheap because they're like leftover books or books that are from the library or things like that. So Bookoutlet is just a wonderful way to get all different kinds of books for fairly cheap. I don't know what it is today. Like, I don't know. I have rocks in my mouth or something. I can't talk. But anyways, some of their books, like depending on when you go on, like sometimes I have a hard time finding like brand new books, like new releases. That's really, really rare to find on Bookoutlet. But like if you give it 4 or 5 months after a book is released, more than likely you can find it on Bookoutlet. And like say the book is $19.99, you'll probably get it for like $5. If a book's like 12, you probably can get it for like $2.99. So to get 9 books for like $35. And the reason why I always do, because anything over 35, so my order was like $35.49 or something like that. Anything over $35 is free shipping. So I usually always buy $35 worth of books. And it only has to be a few cents over 35, and then you get free shipping. So I just thought I'd put it out there. Like I said, I'm not being sponsored by Bookoutlet, but a Bookoutlet, if you happen to be out there and you want to sponsor this girl, you and me are going to be great friends because I'm all for that. I'll sponsor you any day because I love me my books. But anyways, I don't want to make this video super, super long. I just wanted to share my crazy post-apocalyptic apocalypse end of the world book haul with you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys would just be so kind to leave me some comments down below telling me if you read any of these, what you thought about them, and if I read some of these, if you would like me to do a review on them and which ones, because I'd be more than happy to accommodate with you that, because one of my favorite things to talk about is books. So that's it for me, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Keep telling yourself, this too shall pass. This has to end at some point. I hope sooner than later. And I pray to God we don't get zombies. Until next time, guys, take care of you. Always do what you love. Do it large. Keep reading. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.